Welcome back to Sit Down with Sid podcast. This is episode number 6. Today, I have a very special guest. He's one of the most renowned international coach, personal trainer, and body transformation specialist who hails from India with clientele spanning all across the globe. With almost 25 years of experience, our guest has helped over 6,000 clients successfully transform their lives. He focuses on fat loss, write-ups on thyroid, PCOD, PCOS, which we will go more in the podcast. He currently resides and owns the gym PTZone in Tamil Nadu, India. Without any further ado, let's welcome our guest, Rajesh PT. Hi, Rajesh. How's it going, man?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So, Rajesh, tell us a little bit about yourself. Were you born there in Tamil Nadu, or let our audience know a little bit about yourself?
Okay, I'm basically born in Kerala, but I'm brought up in Tamil Nadu, right? So my studies and everything started in Tamil Nadu. So, and I'm living currently in Tamil Nadu, in a city called Coimbatore.
Yeah. Okay, that's great. And if I remember, I actually read one of your articles online, and it said that you have been very much inspired by your dad's fitness regime. Could you chime into that, a little bit more so our audience knows?
Yeah, definitely. All right. So it all started with my dad. We saw him working out, lifting weights. We used to go along with him, I and my brother. We generally go along with him to the gym, seeing him lifting weights and doing weightlifting contest, winning prizes. So these things definitely was a basic inspiration for us to start our bodybuilding. But never thought it going to be a career. But then, we started lifting weights at the early age of like 12 or 13 years old. But I can say, if I'm sitting and talking in front of you right now, it's all because of my father. Maybe the inspiration started from there.
Wow, that's great. So why did you specialize in kind of fat loss? What's the story behind it? Is that something we should know about?
Yeah, definitely. All right. So basically, I started doing bodybuilding. So when I started fitness, it's basically into bodybuilding, not like especially for fat loss or something. I'm so much interested in bodybuilding becoming huge when I have zero knowledge about how a person becomes so huge, without any other anabolics towards that. So all we know here in Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, in the year of 1997. All right. So all we know is you need to eat some food and you have to work out in the gym like crazy. So you're going to grow like, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Ronnie Coleman and Jay Cutler. Of course, I'm a very big fan of Jay. I want to say this right now. So all we know is we need to just work our ass off in the gym, eat whatever we get, and we will grow. So we don't know anything beyond that. All right. So crazy about becoming bigger. I started working out, started building some muscle. Maybe I think the ignorance was a blessing because all we know was working so hard in the gym, every body part, right? So there's nothing lagging behind. Even now, when I remove my clothes and pose, I can say I almost developed everything. Maybe I don't have a bigger physique, but then each individual muscle group is developed. Maybe this is because we were focusing on everything, and we were working on like including the calves and hamstrings, which generally people don't focus on much. So this is how it all started. But then when it comes to fat loss, later part of the when I started taking this seriously as a career, more of fat loss, people approached me for fat loss rather than for bodybuilding and fitness, because For bodybuilding, it's first thing I have to tell you, it's such an expensive sport. So you definitely know that. Sitting there, it's not an easy job to just build muscle by eating a normal home cooked food. You need to add a lot of protein there. You need to work out, and a lot of other stuffs come in. So it's
It's a full-time
building
job,
muscle
man.
and becoming huge takes a lot of dedication. Exactly. So people are more interested towards fat loss. They're not worried about building muscle. So people started approaching me towards fat loss rather than building muscle. So that's when my idea changed, and I started focusing more on fat loss. I still train people for building muscle, preparing them for contests, but that is very less compared to people approaching me for fat loss.
So based on your knowledge, Rajesh, how do you lose fat and gain muscle at the same time? Is it the diet? Is it the nutrition, the supplementation? Can you talk more about into it in detail? Like does it involve, you know?
Okay. Okay. Basically, losing muscle and gaining fat generally, personally, I felt that is really not possible because basic thermodynamics of losing fat is you have to be on a calorie deficit. The same way basic muscle building concept is you need to be on a calorie surplus. So both are not going hand in hand. So you want to lose muscle, you want to lose fat and gain muscle at the same time is physiologically not an easy job for the body. That's what I used to think. But then certain individuals, still we can say exceptionally, certain individuals have the capacity, especially we call some people as a skinny fat. So those people have the ability of building muscle and losing fat at the same time. You can say the people who are detrained or people who are very sluggish or beginners. So these people can easily build muscle and lose fat at the same time. But then an experienced trainer who have years of experience in lifting weights, I don't think that person can lose fat and gain muscle at the same time. So it'll be more of a struggle for them, and it's only for certain kind of people who can gain muscle and lose fat at the same time. So how will you do that? Basically, you have to be on a calorie deficit. You can't be on a calorie surplus. You have to be on a calorie surplus. Maybe you have to utilize your stored fat and convert it as energy to fuel your muscle growth. So basically, that's how this body recomposition happens. Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's funny you brought that up. You know, I actually have two facts that I want to share with you and the audience. So
Okay.
there was a study conducted at Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, where researchers found that if people adopt healthy habits, it can extend their life expectancy by 14 years for women and 12 years for men. So that shows the significance of staying healthy, eating the right food, you know, maintaining your calories and not going overboard.
Exactly. Great.
Uh, so uh, do you believe in macros and micros? You know, are you familiar with the macros and micros concept?
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. Without macros and micros, there is no muscle building or fat loss.
So how do
There is
you
no healthy diet without micros and macros. So it's a
so what is a macro and a micro, if you don't mind me asking, you know, so people have
yeah,
better
sure.
understanding.
Yeah, sure. The macros are basic carbs, protein, and fats. So these are the basic macros, and the micros are vitamins and minerals, right? So it's both together is very important because it generally when it comes bodybuilding or fitness or fat loss, people are more concerned about only protein. So there are they the importance of having a micro diet. So they're into the macros and especially into protein. So it should be balanced. That's what I think. So these are the basics.
So do you consider a supplement as a micro?
Of course, because
Like
I don't think
multivitamins, you know, vitamin C and all that. So that will be that will come under the category
Exactly.
of a micro, correct?
It will come under the category of micros, because achieving your vitamins and mineral need for your body from the food is kind of impossible these days. Not everybody can eat 6 to 10 cups of salad every day to get all the vitamins and minerals that your body needs, the fiber. So apparently you have to end up leaning forward for a supplement like multivitamins and minerals, which I don't think is really a bad idea.
What do you think about, so the reason I'm asking you this question is because over here from last few years, this has been one of the rising concepts, in terms of fat loss, is intermittent fasting. I am personally not a fan of it because I'm old school, but it works for others. I have seen the results. What do you think? Is intermittent fasting the safe way to kind of lose the body fat?
Okay. Basically, I started learning about intermittent fasting as a protocol to detox your body. Right? So basically, that's what I think. You stay away from food for a longer period of time, just giving enough time for your organs to get some rest. Right? So which we are not giving for years and years. We keep eating throughout the day for an entire 12 months, 365 days a year. We're not giving enough rest for the body. So it's basically staying away from food for a period of time. So that's all I considered intermittent fasting initially. So that's the fasting protocol which we follow in India for a very long period of time. I've seen here it's an old practice, I can say. In every religion, they have this practice of fasting. All right. So that become popular later on, how this helps to lose body fat. So this is how I started focusing towards intermittent fasting, not just as a protocol to lose fat. I basically use intermittent fasting. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, I use intermittent fasting as a detox for my clients or myself. In that process, they are able to lose some fat also. So what I see as intermittent fasting, we are not reducing overall calories. Basically, we are eating enough calories that our body needs. Even as you mentioned that you are old school and you're not favorable for intermittent fasting. The same way, I'm also from the same old school, lifting heavy ass weights and eat throughout the day, like 5 to 6 to 8 meals a day. I'm for it. Definitely, I'm for it. But then, when it comes to fat loss, and when someone is struggling to lose fat, eating 5 to 6 to 8 meals definitely is not going to help him. So that's what I found. So even now, I use the same method of eating 6 to 8 meals for someone who is trying to build muscle and preparing for a contest or something. But when someone comes to fat loss, I try to keep their meals between like 2 to 3 meals per day. Make sure he's getting enough calories in his diet. Make sure he's getting enough calories from the diet. And also, he's not going on a nutritional deficit. All right. So fasting doesn't mean that you should stay away from food forever. Fasting is just that you're putting a period of time without eating, and then you bring all your calories in a certain amount of time within the time. For example, what kind of protocol I follow when I do intermittent fasting. When I finish my dinner by 8 o'clock in the night, so I will go for the next meal the next day, 12 o'clock. So I cover 16 hours between that.
Wow.
Exactly. So 16 hours, I'm able to maintain my physique. Maybe I'm not building muscle these days. I'm not focusing on that. Yeah, if someone is coming to build muscle and doing a bodybuilding, I will not be suggesting him an intermittent fasting. That's not suitable for him. So that's a different criteria. But people who come for a fat loss, making those people eat, 8 to 10 meals is definitely not okay. All right. So that's where I put intermittent fasting in place. So basically, it's not for a fat loss purpose. It's basically a detox purpose.
Great. So Rajesh, I know you're pretty big on body transformation coaching, and I mean, I have seen the results. Do you mind sharing your Instagram handle with the audience here? We will put that in the description as well, so people can check out your portfolio. What's your Instagram?
Definitely, sure. It's
Yeah, go
it's
ahead. I'm sorry.
Rajesh. Yeah, it's PT Rajesh. That is
PT
the
Rajesh.
Instagram handle. That's correct.
Perfect. Perfect. So let me ask you now. You know, since we have been in pandemic since last year, early last year, most of the coaching or most of the clientele you have is virtual, correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So I have a couple of things. Number one is, what are the pros? And second question is, what are the challenges when you work with them? When you work with people, so give me both sides. What is the benefit when you work someone virtually versus what is the biggest challenge for you since you're not able to see them in person?
All right. So biggest challenge. All right. So the first thing is the first challenge I see is as not seeing them in person. That itself is a big challenge, because meeting somebody in the gym and training them, standing next to them, motivating them and doing the workout is completely different from sitting so far in a different country, just texting them on WhatsApp and asking them to do things. Right. So I never thought this was, the online training was, I just started this in 2015. I can say it all started from there, when a person approached me asking whether I can train that person online. Right. So I was wondering, the person was in India, but then far northeast, and I'm located in south. The person was from northeast. So that lady approached me. She asked me whether I can train her. I said, you are so far from here. How am I going to train you? I said, just send me the routine. Send me what I should do, what kind of food I should eat. I'll follow it and I will follow up with you. I was not very sure about it. I sent her the routine. And after a couple of weeks, she sent me photos of the progress. And I was literally shocked. So that's when I thought, okay, fine. So if someone is dedicated to do, it doesn't matter whether the person is, standing next to you or is far away from you. Definitely there is a possibility. So this is where the online training started with me in 2015. So once I started posting the person's picture, then I started getting inquiries about online training. So little did I realize that that's going to be a path
Business
breaking for me, a
venture. Yeah.
career. Exactly. So I never thought like that. So once I started, initially when I trained her, I was not bothered about whether she worked out or whether she don't work out, nothing. I just sent her a routine and
Mm-hmm.
workout plan. She did it herself. That's all. But once I recruit somebody as my client, it's my responsibility to keep a check on them, whether they are following it or not. So I have to check their progress on a period of time. So I have to be keeping a track of their you know progress. So I have to make sure they are doing it or not. So all these things are that's where I started facing the real issue. All right, so because I'm not seeing them in person, so I have to keep a check on them over the call, or receiving the or maybe I ask them to send me the pictures of food which they eat every time. So we keep looking at it. That's how I started tracking them. But this was really a challenge for them. This is the main challenge for me, connecting with them on a regular basis. That is what they were expecting as a trainer. So they want somebody to be, keep poking them, making sure that they are following it or not. But then when you're having
Motivating
so
each
many,
other.
yeah, exactly. When you have so many clients, it's impossible for you to, message every individual client every day, asking for them whether they are doing it or not.
That is
That's
correct.
the biggest challenge. Exactly.
Uh, I think on the other side, I think this is something very personal and emotional for people who want to lose fat, who want to gain muscle. You have to understand it's your body, right? So what you sow is what you reap. There is a saying. So I guess being virtually connected with you somehow brings them that safety net, okay, there is someone there is someone behind us, right? So if we get off track, so I think that's just my personal view. I think there is also a benefit of it. So that was actually excellent point that you all mentioned. It's really mind blowing. It's not easy to work with so many clients, especially when you're working with them virtually, and to keep all of them happy. But
that's true.
You are able to do that. So hats off to you, man. I completely respect.
Thank you.
That.
Thank you, Sid.
So I know you are pretty much big on some write-ups. So I have few discussion points I want to bring up, and then I want you to give me your point of view on those.
Right.
Hormones, right? So I think you made a video where you talked about which hormones make you fat and control it. Do you want to kind of chime onto it? Because I think this will be a great discussion point for our audience.
All right. So when I do a lot of research, I keep learning things, even though I'm not a doctor by profession. I'm not a medical practitioner, but then, learning a lot of things, how your body works. I experimented it myself, and I experiment with others for so many years. So what I found is just how you manipulate your insulin is what making you build muscle as well as lose fat. So this is what I found out. So that's why I just cornered that particular hormone, insulin, as something which can make you or break you. Whether you want to build muscle, definitely you need insulin, because the insulin is the only transporter. All right, so it's the only key that opens your muscle, where your muscle can absorb all the nutrition that it needs to grow. And the same insulin is a double-edged sword. So it can also make you fat if you're doing excess calories. So if you keep spiking insulin throughout the day, definitely you're not going to lose fat. So what I'm talking right now here about insulin is only for people who want to lose fat. It's not about bodybuilders who are trying to gain muscle. I'm not talking about them. That for them, the insulin plays a major role to building muscle. But then for people who are struggling to lose fat, and if they keep spiking the insulin throughout the day, they're not going to lose fat, rather they're going to gain fat. So that's yeah.
So does the insulin, is the insulin factor, like how do you manage an insulin kind of hormone in a male and a female? Is it the same, or is there any difference?
In a male and female, it's almost similar until a woman go through her period cycles. In her period cycles, her insulin naturally will be very high. So they generally feel more craving during that period, and that's the time, if they can control their cravings, they can definitely stop gaining some fat. Because obviously you can never tell a woman not to crave on their periods. All right, so that's quite normal. It's a hormone. It's right. Which is not under their control. It's completely out of their control. Right. So they will feel hungry. They will feel emotional. They want to eat a lot of food during that time. But that is the time their body's insulin levels are very, very high. And if they somehow control that, by not eating a lot of carbohydrates during that time, and maybe they can follow a very low carb diet during the period cycle. If they reduce their carbs and eat a lot of protein,
right?
Not like a very lean protein, a protein with some fat, intrinsic fat. So it's not something which you need to add. Some meat comes with fat, so you can use those things during that period of time, where you will not spike the excess insulin, which is already there more because of your period cycle. So other than that, both men and women doesn't make a big difference when it comes to insulin.
Right. I know you're also pretty much big on, so this is a very interesting topic I want to bring it on, is polycystic ovarian disease, PCOD.
It's true.
Which I understand is an imbalance of hormones. The consequence is weight gain, especially around the abdominal area, and almost 1/3 of the women around the globe suffer from it. So What is your take on that? I know you that's one of your top researches, and you kind of work with a lot of female clients.
That's true.
Can you just chime in onto that? What's it all about?
Yeah, sure. It's basically, PCOD, PCOS. It's almost similar. I can say both are, both have to do something with the ovaries. All right. So there is something wrong there with the ovaries, and that's where all these things happen. So you can say the PCOS mostly, it's like a, endocrine or a metabolic disorder. And the PCOD, you can say mostly a hormonal imbalance. But then when you going to treat them, it's almost you have something similar towards treating them. So basically what it happens is more androgens, your ovaries become hyperactive and start producing more androgens. Or so it's a male hormone.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, male hormones are secreted, from the ovaries very little for other functions that every woman needs. The same way how we still produce testosterone as well as estrogen. Women too produce androgen, that is testosterone and estrogen, but the quantities are different for men and women. So
Right.
we produce more testosterone and very less of estrogen, and they produce more estrogen and less of testosterone. But here in this condition of PCOS, their ovaries start being hyperactive and produce more androgens, that is the male hormone, which creates the period irregularities, and you can say exactly period irregularities. So mainly the the hair growth, or the body hair, uh, and facial hair, male pattern baldness. So all these things are because of PCOS, right? So why this happens? Mostly because of the hormonal imbalance, and also the condition, that is a metabolic condition.
So is there a way to control it? Like, is there a diet that can help, or do you have to have prescriptions, medicines? How does somehow the fat loss tie in with that? That's my main question.
Okay, so when you have more androgens produced, when we see why this happens, again, it's going back to insulin. All right, so when your pancreas is very hyperactive and producing more insulin, sometimes it produces more insulin that your body doesn't need so much. So what happens? More insulin, your muscle cells become very I can say it stopped responding to the insulin, right? So that's a condition which happens. So everything is like a cycle. So your ovaries produces ovaries start producing more androgens. When you see why it is producing more androgens, hyperactive because of more insulin in the body. So why more insulin? Again, it's because you become more insulin insensitive. So that's become the reason. So you become insulin insensitive. Your pancreas produces more because your brain signals. Your brain never understands that your muscles are not uptaking the nutrition because it's very insensitive towards insulin. So your brain signals the pancreas to produce more insulin. More insulin makes your ovaries more hyperactive, and it produces more androgen. So it's all a vicious cycle. It keeps continuing.
Okay.
Have drugs for this. You have drugs for this prescribed by the doctors to make sure you will come out of this. They gave a course of like 30 to 40 days. You have to be on that to make sure that it's basically a birth control pills which they recommend to
Okay.
come out of this situation. Because when you're producing more androgens, you're not going to get any periods for a period of time.
Okay.
So person goes without periods for a period of time. So you have to induce periods by taking tablets, which is again a vicious cycle. You take tablet,
Correct.
you bring your periods. Again, you're creating a hormonal imbalance there. So because of this, you're gaining fat
Great.
again.
Okay.
So it's all a cycle. So what I suggest from my part of as a nutritionist, as a coach, whatever I studied under my knowledge, what I see is you need a tablet to fix this. You can just work on a proper meal plan and exercise plan to fix this issue. So that's what I found, and I'm very successful. I can proudly say that I'm very successful. There are so many clients who reach me not just for fat loss; they just approached me, seeing the testimonials which I post on Instagram, saying that no, I I never had my periods in the past 6 to 8 months. So since I started your diet coach, I started getting my periods on time. So this is when I started working on where exactly what is going wrong and how this is getting fixed. So how someone never got periods for 6 months, and suddenly when I put them on a diet, started getting periods on
So is
time.
it like is it a special diet like lean protein, or does that like do you have a standard diet for that, or that depends on each person individually?
It depends on each person individually, but still there is a common point for this: keeping your insulin low throughout the day. So this is what I found to fix this issue, because when you're controlling your insulin spike throughout the day, so if you're not spiking, for example, you eat your breakfast, then between your breakfast and lunch, you just have a snack, again you're spiking your insulin. Then again on your lunch you're eating, you're spiking your insulin. Again between lunch and dinner you're eating some snack, you're spiking your insulin. Again on dinner you're spiking your insulin. So
Right.
keep spiking your insulin throughout the day is making you more insulin insensitive. So what happens? Your body is no more responding to insulin. Your muscle cells are no more responding to insulin because you're spiking it too much. And someday your pancreas will give up. It will burn out if you keep spiking the insulin forever for
Okay.
no reason. So what I understood, cutting down the meals into 2 or 3 per day. So I'm again here, want to clarify this. I'm talking only about fat loss. I'm not talking about a muscle gain. I'm not talking about bodybuilding here. I'm just talking about someone who is just struggling to lose fat. And for them, I just make sure that they don't spike their insulin throughout the day. They just eat 2 or 3 times in a day. So this is what helped to make sure that they bring down their insulin, and I can see so much in their health. They are improving their health. I can see they reduce their type 2 diabetes. I can see people who had who spiked their blood sugar close to 400 to 500 on a fasting, right? On a fasting, their and now once they have the meal, I can see their blood sugar is standing between 110, which is a very good improvement from 4 to 100, because now their body becomes very sensitive towards insulin. So their body, their pancreas need to secrete insulin. So in that way, we can reverse these kind of conditions just with the diet, not depending on the medication.
Great. Rajesh, I have a couple of things that I want to share with you, and I want your input as a
Right.
coach. So, according to WHO, World Health Organization, 39 million children under the age of 5 are overweight.
Okay.
This was a study conducted in 2020, and almost 39% of the adults worldwide are overweight. That was by Statista. Why do you think? Why do you think? Like, what's the problem? What do you think is the issue? Why people are so overweight? I mean, these numbers are 39% of adults worldwide are overweight. That's pretty high, and it's concerning. Why do you think is that? And what can they do?
All right. So basically, we tend to think it's genetics, right? So we basically blame on genetics. But yes, genetic plays a part of it. But then if you identify this earlier, if you see a kid is becoming obese at age, So parents can easily identify that and start working towards that rather than, letting it grow bigger. So I've seen kids who were obese when they were just 10 years old, and I see their parents is not taking care of it much. They still overfeed that kid. All right, so no physical activity at all. It is just that it's not just because of the genetics alone. It's just because much worried about that until you and say that there is some in your body, so you need to address it. You need to start working out. You need to do some physical activity, and you need to follow a diet. So until your doctor says this, you're not ready to understand the seriousness of the issue that your body goes very soon. So this is the I think this is the reason. Basically, we are not much worried about until we reach a stage where we are addressed by somebody who knows about it, like a doctor, physician, exactly. And it makes the issue. So and again, why so much of obesity? Definitely the kind of food we feed ourselves. All right, so we don't have we tend to live in such a world, fast food, fast life. All right, so nobody have time to cook and eat. So I myself, when I recruit a client, I first ask them, are you able to cook and eat your meals? If you're not able to do that, I will clearly tell them that I'm not promising you any results. If you're eating outside, I'm not promising you any results, because eating outside, you know how the food is cooked outside.
Right.
The hotels. All right, exactly. So the kind of amount of sodium they use, especially, for example, you go to a Chinese hotel, and definitely the next day you will feel the bloating, right? Because
Sodium,
kind of amount of sodium in the food. So this is what happening with every food cooked outside. So you have no control over how they cook the food. So avoid eating outside. Try to at least eat 2 meals home cooked. All right. So it is self-interest against it. It's nobody can tell you to do this until you face the issue. That's when you become aware of it. By then it'll be little too late sometimes, that your health will be spoiled so much, because I see people who stop eating outside. All right, that's what I say. People who stop eating outside and start following a simple diet. Even my diet is me. You can just I can send the diet which I'm providing my clients. You will just be surprised. Come on, you say that you bringing so much results with such a simple diet. Yes, exactly. That's what I tell my clients. It's just that it's very basic home cooked. I stop them eating outside. That's the first thing I do. I make them stop eating outside and start eating home cooked food, and boom, the results are there.
Great. So my last question to you is, what's next for you? What's your goal? Where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years from now?
Okay. My goal is to reach more people. All right. So it's not about the business point of view. It's just that more awareness. That's the reason why I put more videos on my the hormonal imbalance, diabetes, and the hormones that make them fat. So I want them to basically understand and be aware. Yeah. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah. So we kind of lost you. So can you go back and tell us, like, you post videos? Where do you post a lot of your videos so people can?
I post videos on Instagram, and also I have a YouTube channel. So I have these videos posted there just to make sure I create some kind of awareness. It's not that everybody should join you and for a body transformation. So I don't expect that. So whatever I can do from my side to help them, be aware of whatever they can do to themselves without my help, just by going through my videos, they understand, okay, fine. So I want to control my insulin. I can lose weight. Great. So what should I do to control my insulin? Yeah. Stop eating frequently. So this is such a small point I gave on a video, and I have so many comments in the people texting me back after 2 or 3 months saying that, so I just got that one point you said, reduce the meal frequency and you can lose weight. And I was just by listening to your video. So this is all I want. I want to just of things. Doesn't mean that they have to join for a body transfer program. Making them aware of how to take care of themselves. Not just about a fat loss, just about improving their health and fixing their hormones. I'm more happy about that.
Actually, yeah. So guys, if you want to check Rajesh out on YouTube as well, his YouTube channel is, I don't know if they can see this properly, but it's Rajesh PT, and you can find tons and tons of information, and feel free to reach out to Rajesh via Instagram, YouTube. I will have all the links in the description below. Guys, give us your feedback, give us your questions. If you have any questions for Rajesh, for us, send your questions directly to the Instagram handle. You can also email us. Once again, all the information will be in the description box. That being said, Rajesh, I want to thank you so much. It has been a pleasure to have you, and I really appreciate your knowledge about your profession. I think it shows your client portfolio, successful client portfolio, shows your knowledge, how possessed you are with such an immense knowledge, and we don't happen to come across that too often, So I just wanted to say that to you. And if you have anything to say to the audience as the last message, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Sid. First thing, I want to thank you for giving me such a great opportunity. I've gone through your channel. When you send me the link, I've seen some great people speaking there, with great knowledge. So I was initially, when you asked to sit for a chat, I was wondering whether I'm, going to, justify your channel, because I just gone through a few of the interviews, you had with a few great people. I'm invited here and speaking to you right now, and all I want to tell you, put some more videos, get some more people out there, and you are spreading. If I'm doing a job like this, doing even more greater job, because you're bringing so many people right there in this room, right, and making them out uh, fitness related issues, fat loss, bodybuilding. This is amazing. You are just giving things which they can't find it anywhere else, because these days people are not ready to read books. All right, so it's for I gain my knowledge through a lot of podcasts. Sid, in my early ages, I keep watching YouTube. So many knowledgeable people speak there. You don't need to run through a book. You have to just put a headphone and listen to that podcast. You get millions of knowledge there. So it's amazing. And you are taking such an initiative, bringing people there on your podcast. I'll be waiting for other podcasts bringing, especially you said about Jay Cutler. I'm just waiting for, as a fan, I'm just waiting to listen to Jay Cutler in your podcast. And thank you so much for inviting me here. And people out there who are listening to this, thanks a lot. It's all about becoming healthy. It's not just about a fat loss. I generally say becoming healthy. So that's one thing I always say, Sid. It's like a mantra for me. I can say you cannot lose. You cannot become. I want to tell right now to everybody. So this is my mantra, and this is I have so much things to put it together here to talk about this. Maybe the next time I can say it's really you have to become healthy to lose fat. You cannot think of losing fat and becoming healthy. So that is very important. Thank you, Sid.